Hello everyone, this is Tony. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Trophy Food Experiences. Today this is part 3 in my series of analysis of the Michelin guide in Vancouver and their picks. This is going to be quite a video because I'm going through all the listed restaurants. So I've already, in part 1 I did a video on the restaurants that got a Michelin star, which is 8 of them. Then in part 2 I did a video on all the restaurants that got Bib Gourmand rating, which is another 12. And then this video covers all the other restaurants that are listed. There's another 40. So I'm going to try and go through all of them and give you my kind of comments on them based from a local perspective and also for tourists. So let's go. The first one, and I think these are all in alphabetical order. First one is Acquafarina. This is on West Georgia Street near the stadium area and the QE Theater. I couldn't recommend it. I found it very pompous. I found it, yeah, I can't, I'm gonna be honest. And so I found them, and so you can look at my review at the end of this video, but yeah, I can't really recommend them. Okay, next restaurant is Arike. So this is on Davie Street. Never been, so I would, like to go, of course. Next restaurant is Ask for Luigi, and I think this is the same people that are the same chef as St. Lawrence. So it's great food. Yeah, the setting is a little edgy. So, but the food is great. It is kind of casual, and it is quite. Small and crowded. So it's not going to be your high end. The food is great, but I guess the surroundings in terms of it's more casual. So you have to expect that. Next one is Bacaro, which is a very casual Italian restaurant on Cordova Street in the Pacific Rim Hotel downtown. I would say, again, to me, it's decent. It's not, I wouldn't go out of my way to go there. I don't think you're gonna get bad food there. So it's a nice casual place. You don't need to dress up. Next restaurant is Bacchus on Hornby Street. It's, I think, inside the Wedgwood Hotel. Love this place. It is high end, but it's kind of old school formal. But I find the service excellent. I wish I had done a review of it. I've been to there a number of times, but every time I'm there, I enjoy it so much that I forget to film or forget to take pictures. It's quite nice for visitors. If you want a high-end experience where you dress up a little bit and you get great service and great food, I like Bacchus a lot. And so I think hopefully eventually they'll get a star, but I think their food, their service, the whole ambiance is spectacular. Next restaurant is Bar Gobo. I've never been there. It's 237 Union Street, and so I will go eventually, I hope, but again, it's not on my radar too much. Next one is Bar Suzu. I've never been, but friends have been, and they've told me it's quite nice. It's kind of serves fusion Japanese food. Casual place. Next one is Bonjour Vietnamese Bistro. It's on Fraser Street. I take out from there all the time. So the takeout, I can tell you, is great. Have it all the time. Nothing special, but I think it's great food. Let's put it that way. It's not, you're not going to have a bad meal there. So I like that choice also. Botanist, that's in the Pacific Fairmont Hotel. I think this is a wonderful restaurant. I haven't been since post-COVID, but pre-COVID I was there all the time. Great service. The setting is beautiful. It's got a lot of greenery. Yeah, the food is magnificent. So they have a lot of chefs that come around the world that kind of partner with Chef Hector there. But I think it's a great restaurant. And so I think hopefully that they will be considered for a star in the future. I quite like them. Cafe Medina on Richard Street is again, a very established restaurant. I think I've been there, but I haven't been there for many, many years. But again, it's been in downtown for many years. Of course, Italian food. And so I can't, unfortunately, I don't have enough experience or memory to remember about that restaurant. Next restaurant is Carlino on Alberni Street. It's inside the Shangri-La Hotel. It's a fairly new restaurant. That restaurant changes over quite a lot. It's over the last 10 years. I think they've had 3 changes in terms of the what restaurant works, but I think that this is their latest spin on it. It's Italian. I was there right after they opened, so it was my recollection was the food was quite good, but it was, again, it's a personal thing, but the service was awkwardly friendly. It was just almost trying to be too friendly, and to a point where it was a little bit annoying. I'm so sorry, but that could be just my personal preference, but it was just trying to be funny without really being that funny. Maybe we'll go back there. Next one is Chang'an restaurant on Granville Street. It's under the bridge, and it's near the, it's on Falls Creek part of it. I love this restaurant. I think I really like this restaurant. So it's got it has went through some growing pains. So at first it was kind of, I thought, quite disorganized, but now they've got good staff in place. It's actually a pretty nice restaurant. It's not pretentious. I actually prefer this to the restaurant Changi Beijing Duck, which got the star. I find this restaurant, I think the food's better, and I think the service better, and it's not as pretentious. And it's probably half the price, in my opinion. So for me as a local, I'm happy for tourists to go to Changi Beijing Duck. I'll stick with Chang'an. And so I think it's a wonderful restaurant. It does serve, Chang'an is another word for Xi'an, so it's Xi'an duck. So the Xi'an duck and the Beijing duck is a little bit different, slightly in size, but for anyone that's not a duck expert, you wouldn't know the difference. So I really like their duck. Next one is a restaurant called Chef's Choice Chinese Cuisine on West Broadway. I've been there. Food is good. They have a lot, and the only thing I can say is that I've mostly been there with VIP clients, so I can't actually tell you what happens if you're not a VIP. From the experiences that I've had with my clients, I'm not the VIP, but my friends and my clients are the VIP. It's been great, the food. The service is very friendly, but it's not black tie type service. The only other thing is very difficult to get to right now with the Broadway corridor being renovated. There's some construction going on, so it's tough to get there. Next restaurant is Chio Pino in Yaletown. This is a very famous Italian restaurant. Pino is a very famous chef all around Canada and the world. So, probably he's on the cusp of getting a star, probably. I think there were some people that were surprised that he didn't get a star. So, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of years. But, he is one of the leading Italian restaurants in town. So, again, I would say that it is expensive because it is in Yaletown, and it is, I would say, a more dressy style. Next restaurant is Delara. It's a Persian cuisine on West 4th Avenue. I have not been, but you can see again the choices that, just going through the list and where the places are, you can see on the list that the diversity of restaurants that Michelin has chosen, but in general, they've tried to create more ethnicity. I think they had that complaint in Toronto, and they've tried to come out of the downtown core. But I think it has hurt the traditional restaurants, traditional Italian, traditional French restaurants, which were, I think, penalized a little bit in the first year. Next restaurant is Dynasty Seafood Restaurant. This is on West Broadway. Again, I've been there many times, a lot of times with, kind of clients that are VIP clients or customers that are long-time customers. So the food quality has, I think, always been good. They have some massive plates and beautiful plating. It is going to be on the expensive side. And again, it's on the West Broadway corridor, which right now is a little bit difficult to get to with the construction on West Broadway. Has suffered a little bit in terms of the business, but maybe that's good that they're getting this kind of exposure. It is definitely a good restaurant and one of the leading Chinese restaurants in town, but it is hard to get into because it is so popular, and they do have a lot of regular customers. Next restaurant is Elephant. It's on Powell Street. I believe that's close to Chinatown again, and again, not sure. I've never been to that restaurant. And you can see the themes. They do seem to bundle a lot of their restaurants in Chinatown area, Commercial Drive, and away from West Side Vancouver and downtown. So yeah, I think to a certain extent, for the first time, they were trying to be more ethnically diverse, and I don't know, they thought that Vancouver was a much more eclectic, artsy, casual market. So maybe they wanted to stay away from high-end restaurants. But I think, again, that they will get some feedback from other people, and then they will kind of get an equilibrium eventually. Next one is Fanny Bay Oyster Bar on Canby Street. I think that's downtown. Again, I've never been there, so I can't really comment on it. Next is Hawksworth, and that's David Hawksworth, again, a leading edge restaurant in Vancouver. I think there were people that were surprised that he was not on the list because he's well known in Canada, around the world. And I think, you know, it happens. I don't know what they had in mind, but perhaps it's because, again, he's downtown. It's kind of normal cuisine. It's continental / French. Maybe they want to stay away from that. I forgot one that, that I have reviewed previously called Como Taperia on East 7th. I do have a review of that restaurant. It is a cool, hip place, like Spanish tapas. So if you want to feel younger and cool, go there. It's really a nice place. It's not, again, I think it's really good for a really quick meal or before dinner, pre-dinner, pre-theater meal or pre-movie meal. It's not particularly filling, but it's kind of like tapas food and really fun and hip. And so I enjoyed it quite a bit. So you can see my review of that. Next two are long-time established restaurants, Homer Street Cafe and Bar. I have been there, but many, many years ago, so I'm not even going to comment. L'Abattoir is in Gastown. I have been there also many times, not post-COVID. I think they used to have, actually, pre-COVID, another restaurant across the street that was specialized in seafood, which I thought was actually better in terms of food quality and service. L'Abattoir is a nice restaurant. I would say it's an upscale restaurant, but just my personal view is that my experiences with the restaurant has been hit and miss. Sometimes you get great service, sometimes you don't. And so that's why I don't go back as much as I used to, because it's kind of spotty. And that's also what I've heard from my friends also. Next one is Manam, which is on West 4th, Thai restaurant, Angus Ann. I was just there, so you can see my review of that restaurant. Nice restaurant. I think everyone will have a good time there. Next one is Miku. I think they have, oh yeah, Miku is on Granville Street, near the Canada Place. Wonderful restaurant, wonderful Japanese restaurant serving iburi sushi, which is kind of the sushi where they kind of flame it a bit, so it's kind of semi-raw. So I think this is quite a quality restaurant, so I quite like this. It's not that expensive, particularly if you go for lunch, so I would check that out. Really like that restaurant a lot. Namos Astoria, I've never been to. That's Fraser Street. Neptune Palace Seafood Restaurant on Marine Drive. It's in the Marine Gateway development. Again, great restaurant, a neat development. It's got a film theater, movie theater there. it's quite a way for, if you're living in downtown and visiting Vancouver, it's quite a way down to go, and it's kind of in a more local neighborhood. So there's, you know, it's quite a way down. It's quite a magnificent restaurant. It's huge. So I think that, you know, if you're in the neighborhood, you should go, but I wouldn't make a special trek to that restaurant. Next is the new Mandarin Seafood Restaurant. Friends have just been to that restaurant. I haven't been. They said it was quite decent, so I will trust them in saying that's a good restaurant. Next one is Nightingale, which is owned by the Hawksworth people on West Hastings. I love this restaurant. As a casual place, I love this restaurant. I go there all the time for lunch. It's really great. It's great for dinner. Again, it's one of these restaurants that at the beginning, I didn't think they had everything together. But now I think they've got the service standard and the food quality. And I'm a wine person, so they have great sommeliers there too. So I really like that restaurant. Ophelia on West 2nd. I haven't been to that restaurant. Osteria Salvio Volpe. I have been. It's on Kingsway. Again, a bit of a trek. Nice Italian restaurant. Good vibe. I actually, most of these restaurants, I wouldn't recommend visitors who are visiting downtown making the trek. I wouldn't, if you could get into Salvio Volpe, I don't think I would not recommend doing that. Go down there. Kingsway is a vibrant neighborhood. It's kind of a neat place to eat. It is a little bit upper scale, so I like that a lot. Per se Social Corner, that is owned by the same people as Acquafarina. I haven't been to that restaurant. A Pigeon, that is in Gastown. I believe I've been to that restaurant, but not for many years, so I really don't want to comment on it, but my general recollection was positive. Next restaurant is Riley Fish and Steakhouse. I did review this, but I reviewed it, I think, on the 3rd day of opening. So my review was, well, I don't think it's quite ready. I think they were very disorganized when I went there, but the staff were very friendly. And it's one of these posh places. So as a tourist, I think you'd be really impressed. Very upscale and impressive. It does have a lot, at least when I went there, the music was like blaring. So it's quite a kind of club atmosphere. So if you want a quiet place, that's not going to be this place. Sushi Bar Mama in Butte Street, I have not been, and neither have I been to the Acorn, although it is a kind of institution in Vancouver, as is the next one, which is called the Mackenzie Room on Powell Street. I think it's the same people as the St. Mercy people. Tarafuku on Main Street, again, have not been there. It's a Japanese restaurant. And Ubutun Canteen on Fraser Street, haven't been there. So you'll notice there's a lot of them. Again, the majority of these restaurants are going to be on the east side of Vancouver, Main Street, Fraser Street, Commercial Street, Chinatown. So I think that they really wanted to show the diversity of Vancouver. But again, they didn't pick a lot of high-end restaurants. And the last one is Yuwa Japanese Restaurant on 16th. I'm very familiar with this restaurant. Exceptional artistic Japanese cuisine. I think they could be in line for a star eventually because really good food. And in fact, they've got good cooked Japanese food also. So I like that part of it, and a really good sommelier. So just going through that list again, if I were recommending to guests staying in downtown in Vancouver, what restaurants I would recommend, if you had the time, going to Como Taparia on East 7th. I think that's a very special restaurant. I would, because you're in downtown, I go to Botanist, I go to Chang'an, which is in the Falls Creek area, which is really interesting. If you like Italian food, I'd go to Chiappino, I'd go to Hawksworth, I'd go to Miku. These are all downtown restaurants, and Nightingale. So again, I'm thinking from a visitor's perspective. And again, I'm just looking through the list, and there's not many that I would make the trek, because any of the other ones would be outside of downtown and you'd be 15 or 20 minutes away. And of those, sorry, the other one, Bacchus, I really like ones that would really make a trek for that are outside of downtown would be Chang'an, If you really like Chinese food, Dynasty, if you could get in. I would say if you like higher end Thai food, Manam, which is on West 4th, Salvio Volpe on Kingsway, and Yuwa on West 16th. So I don't know if that's been useful. I tried to go through it and what I've done. So there's so many restaurants, but I'm really glad that at least these ones were noted. And for the most part, I agree with most of the selections, that they are kind of representative of the Vancouver food scene. Hope this has been useful, and until next time, happy eating.